Hello, I'm Esther Simpson and I'm the artistic director of The Twisted Tale of Hansel and Gretel. Now, unfortunately, our national tour was cancelled this year due to the coronavirus. However, don't panic. The show must go on. Therefore, we've decided to screen a recording of Hansel and Gretel taken from the Birmingham Hippodrome earlier this year. So, get ready to meet a feisty Gretel, a beatboxing Hansel, a stepmom who really knows how to use a frying pan, a singing chef, a grade A storyteller, and our very own Mockingbird. Oh, and not forgetting the duck. You do know there's a duck in Hansel and Gretel, right? Good, excellent. So, snuggle down with your family and
enjoy the show. Bye.
Marvellous stuff. So, let's begin, shall we? I am the storyteller, which obviously means I love to tell stories. And I've come here today at the lovely Birmingham Hippodrome to tell you all the wonderful tale of Hansel and Gretel. But before we begin, I must apologise to all of you in advance. You see, normally when I come to a new theatre to tell this story, the set and the cast are all in place. But as you can see, we're a little bit behind on schedule. I mean, I've done the best I can with what we've got, but everything's a bit of a mess. However, no need to worry. I have my trusted storybook, and I'm sure with a little bit of imagination, we can imagine the set. But of course, where are my manners? Everyone, this is my dear friend, the Mockingbird. He'll occasionally sing along as I'm telling the story. It's really rather pleasant. Oh, he'll also do the odd sound effect just to further enhance the story. Ha ha. Oh. I'm sorry, but what was that?
There was a cow mooing.
Well, yes, that was quite obvious, but why that sound? There's not a cow in Hansel and Gretel.
There might be. Always best to be prepared.
Yes, yes, quite. Shall we begin?
Let's.
Splendid! Act 1, the woodcutter and his wife. Hard by a great forest dwelt a poor woodcutter with his wife. He had little to bite and to break, and once, when great dearth fell onto the land, he could no longer procure even daily bread. Were you snoring?
No, it wasn't me.
You were, weren't you?
No, honestly, it wasn't me. It was the duck.
I'm sorry, but who are you? Quack! Well, yes, it's obvious you're a duck, but why are you here? There's not a duck in Hansel and Gretel. Quack! No, there's not! Quack! How bizarre! A duck on my stage. I know, weird. And snoring, no less. Snoring. Well, I do suppose this story requires a bit of drama.
No, please!
No. Not that kind of drama. Now, that's just being silly. Oh, Mockingbird, have the actors arrived yet?
Yes, all present and correct.
Wonderful! Now, there are a number of very unique characters within the story of Hansel and Gretel. First of all, we have the dad. And he's a woodcutter.
Hi, I'm the dad, and I'm a woodcutter.
He's a strong yet kind man.
Yes, I am.
Then there's the stepmother.
Hello, I'm the stepmother.
Yes, she's a rather strict stepmother. Then there's Hansel.
Oh, yo, I'm Hansel.
And he's a smart young fellow.
Yeah, I watched my...
And finally we have Gretel.
Hello, I'm Gretel.
quiet and shy young lady.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
So these are our characters. And they all live together in the woodcutter's house. And we don't have a house. Look, I'm terribly sorry, everyone. I knew I shouldn't have started the show without the props in place. I only have myself to blame on this one.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Mr. Storyteller, we can help you build the house.
Yes, we can.
Oh, joy. Well, I'm not quite sure how you can do that. I mean, a group of actors. You don't have any set design experience or carpentry skills or whatnot.
Just you wait.
Chop, chop. So, Hansel, Gretel,
Hey!
the woodcutter,
Hi.
and his wife.
Hello.
All lived together in the woodcutter's house. Unfortunately for them, they were very poor, and therefore very hungry.
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
We're all hungry.
Quack!
Oh, yeah. I suppose we could put a little song in here somewhere.
Do you really have to?
Oh, don't worry, Mr. Storyteller. It's just a short little song, and it goes a little something like, there once was a family without much food, and they did not know what to do. Their bellies rumbled all day and all night, it's true.
We're so hungry.
They dreamed of food piled high on tables. They dreamed of apples, of mashed potatoes. They dreamed of cheese and bananas and pies, of pasta and chicken and peas and rice. They wanted food, but had no food. No matter how hard they tried, they were hungry every night. And then one day, they began to say how hungry they were, they could not stand it. So they chanted,
I'm hungry. Can't you see that I'm hungry? I'm hungry. Yes, I'm really hungry, hungry. I'm hungry. Can't you see that I'm hungry? I'm hungry. Yes, I'm really hungry, hungry. I'm hungry. Can't you see that I'm hungry? I'm hungry. Yes, I'm really hungry, hungry. I'm hungry. Can't you see that I'm hungry? I'm hungry. Yes, I'm really hungry, 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 hungry.
Yes, all right. Now that song isn't exactly the true version of Hansel and Gretel, is it? But that said, I do suppose it was rather entertaining.
well, thanks very much. Can you believe we've had no rehearsal whatsoever?
Really?
Completely improvised.
Okay, great.
So, do you think it can make a reappearance in the show?
We'll see.
As a theatrical motif?
Perhaps. But can we please get back to the story in the book?
Okay.
Thank you. Well, go on, chop, chop. Act 2, the plan. So that night, the woodcutter and his wife were were fast asleep. Well, actually, the woodcutter was so anxious he could not sleep. He said to his wife,
How are we to feed our poor children?
I've got a plan.
and so the wife whispered into her husband's ear a terrible and devious plan. You see, they were to take Hansel and Gretel deep into the forest where it was thickest. Then they would give each of them one piece of bread, go to work, and not return, with the hope that the children would forever be lost in the woods.
No!
Now, don't panic. But you see, the woodcutter, who, as I mentioned, is a strong yet kind man,
Yes, I am.
did not agree to his wife's plan.
No, wife, I will not do that.
And why not?
The wild animals of the forest will tear them to pieces.
Yes, that is the plan.
Now, please, don't panic.
Oh!
No, not you. I'm talking to them. Now, the woodcutter, who, as I'll mention again, is a strong yet kind man.
Yes, I am.
Well, yes, you may be kind, but you're actually rather weak, aren't you? I mean, in the end, you agreed to your wife's plan.
Surely not.
Oh, I think you'll find that you did. Look, it says here in the book that the stepmother left her husband, that's you, no peace until he consented. However, according to the book also, you did feel rather bad.
Yes, I did.
It's a grip.
Which is a nice enough thought. However, you have basically agreed to lose your children forever in the woods.
No!
Now, don't panic. But you see, Hansel and Gretel were only pretending to be asleep and were wide awake because they were both so hungry.
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry. 2, 3, 4.
I'm hungry. Can't you see that I'm hungry?
Yes,
I'm hungry.
okay. Thank you.
Hungry?
Now, having heard what their stepmother was planning, Gretel wept.
Really?
Yes, it says so in the book. It says here, Gretel wept bitter tears. Are you quite finished?
Yes, that's the Oscar, I think.
Oh, please, will you stop? But Hansel, who, as I mentioned, is a smart young fellow,
Yeah, I won't. Smart.
would soon come up with a plan.
Oh, thank you.
Wonderful! It appears that Hansel has finally thought of a plan. So, shall we continue? Act 3, the forest. Oh, lovely Mockingbird, very atmospheric. Now, the woodcutter and his wife led Hansel and Gretel deep into the forest. But what they didn't realise was that Hansel had discovered a number of white pebbles. Now, using gathering as many of these pebbles as he can gather, he would create a path behind himself and Gretel, which they would later use to find their way safely back home. And a clever plan like this shows that Hansel is such a clever boy.
Yeah, a wise one.
Thank you, Hansel. And Gretel, well, she was distressed and scared and probably still weeping bitter tears.
Do I look scared or distressed? In fact, can I tell you a secret?
Oh, if you must.
I like to wander the woods at night, where the dark leaves whisper, where the foxes prowl. I like to wander under pale moonlight and hear the last forgotten hoot of a lonely owl. I like to wander the woods at night, where the bright stars twinkle, where the trees are sighing. I look up to the moon, and it's brilliant white, shining through branches, dropping glimmers of light. I creep with my brother through the twisted trees. What adventures await around the next bend?
Your destiny
Hocus dinner?
of found treasure,
Will we find love?
or hate,
Foe?
or friend.
I like to wander the woods at night with my brother by my side. And you feel special,
I'm scared.
frightened.
I'm free!
Careful! So won't you come and wander the woods with me?
Well, yes, I do suppose that actually rather was lovely, Gretel.
Thank you.
But remember, it is I who is telling the story.
Remember, it's now you're telling the story.
Well, I never! Let's carry on, shall we? So, Hansel and Gretel followed their parents deep into the forest. And when they finally reached the middle of the forest, the woodcutter lit a fire for his two children.
A fire?
Yes, the fire. Once the fire was lit, the stepmother told the children to wrestle, whereas the father told them,
I'm off to cut some wood. And when we are done, we'll come back and find you and take you home. We will. I promise. We'll be back. Love you.
So, Hansel and Gretel sat by the roaring fire and eventually fell asleep. When at last they awoke, Gretel began to...
Sorry, do I look scared?
No!
No.
No. No, she doesn't.
Thank you.
Then why am I crying?
I don't know. So, Mr. Storyteller, that looks like there's 6 votes against 1, which means you should probably update that story. And besides, this Gretel does not and will not shed any more bitter tears. Hit it, Mockingbird.
3, 4.
You think I cry all the time, but I don't cry at all. You think it's Hansel and Gretel, but it's Gretel and Hansel. You think I'll just give up when it gets too hard. I'm not scared of the forest, I'm not scared of the dark. I'm gonna shout my name so you won't forget. Sing it loud, show me some respect. My name is Gretel. Gretel. My name is Gretel. Gretel. My name is
I get the message. I will update the story.
Thank you.
You're welcome. book. Thank you. When at last they awoke, they simply followed the path of pebbles back to their parents' house. Back to the parents' house. We need the house! Build the house! You're doing such a good job at it. Act 4. The children return. So, the next morning, the woodcutter and his wife were still fast asleep, when all of a sudden they were greeted by the sound of footsteps. Upon seeing Hansel and Gretel, the father was delighted.
I'm delighted! Darling, look who's returned!
Goody! The stepmother was not so delighted. Now, not long after this, there was once more great scarcity.
Great scarcity.
You don't know what scarcity means? Honestly, mockingbirds these days. Okay, look, it means that they are still poor. But this time, they are starving.
I'm starving!
I'm starving!
Starving, right, got it. 2, 3, 4!
I'm starving. Can't you see that I'm starving?
All right! Thank you. So that night, whilst Hansel and Gretel were fast asleep, the wicked stepmother whispered into her husband's ear an even more devious plan. They were to take Hansel and Gretel even deeper into the forest so that they would definitely be lost forever. But the woodcutter, of course, disagreed.
No, I will not do that!
But the wicked stepmother soon talked him around.
Oh, good grief!
In her own little way. Yes. So, Hansel and Gretel were only pretending to be asleep. And they had heard everything, but Hansel, in his acute wisdom, did not panic and had already thought up of a plan. However, as he approached the front door, he discovered that very same door was locked.
No!
Now, does anyone remember what Hansel decided to do this time?
Mr. Storyteller.
Yes?
Yes, I have some great ideas about what he decided to do next.
Well, this
so,
will be good.
Hansel and Gretel are stuck in the house, so they can't use pebbles to make a path.
Right.
So instead, he uses rope to make a path.
Well, you're halfway right that they do make a path, but not with rope. They don't have any rope.
Okay. Did they ask the magical unicorns that lived in the forest?
There's no magical unicorns in the story of Hansel and Gretel.
Have you checked the book?
Yes, I've checked. There's no ducks and there's no magical unicorns.
Okay. Fine, totally fine. Did they use pineapples?
Where did they get pineapple from?
From the pineapple trees in the forest.
There are no pineapple trees in the story of Hansel and Gretel. And yes, I've checked in the book.
Okay. Did they use a sat-nav?
Since when does modern technology come into the tale?
Oh, in the 21st century.
But that doesn't mean that the tale sets in the 21st century.
Did he get a
That
bus,
doesn't- Oh,
then?
no,
Did he have the
no, no. Mockingbirds these days, yes, indeed. That's what I was coming to. He stumbled on my idea. Let's ask the audience. So, what did he decide to do this time? Crumbs, but what type of crumbs?
Breadcrumbs.
Yes! Give a round of applause! Why could you not be as quick-witted as that?
That was literally going to be my next answer.
Oh, please. You're not exactly the sharpest knight in the drawer, are you? But you're absolutely right. Breadcrumbs. And that's actually a nice little segue, because that leads us into Act 5, the path of breadcrumbs. Now, as you are about to see, the woodcutter and his wife led Hansel and Gretel even deeper into the forest. Now this time, as our wonderful audience member pointed out, since Hansel did not have any white pebbles on him this time, he did instead have breadcrumbs. And he would use as many of these breadcrumbs as he could to create a path behind himself and Gretel, which they would later use to find their way safely back home. So after lighting a great fire, the woodcutter and his wife slowly crept away. Gretel shared her last piece of bread with Hansel, and then, tired and hungry, the two children eventually fell asleep. Why, oh why, are you on the stage? There is not a duck in Hansel and Gretel. Quack! The birds! Quack! Well, yes, but you're not a bird who eats them. Quack! Aha! Mockingbird, would you?
I mean, I would, but bread doesn't agree with me. Gives me terrible wind.
Oh, for goodness sake! Look, it says here in the book that when the moon shone brightly, the children found no breadcrumbs because the many thousands of birds flying around the forest had eaten them all. You see there, not one mention of a duck. Quack! Mockingbird.
Fine, but like I said, bread doesn't agree with me.
Really, just get on with it. There you go, see? Nothing to worry about.
Oh.
Mockingbird, what's the matter?
Oh, I tried to warn you.
Warn me about what?
Oh, I'm really sorry.
Oh, please.
Oh.
Mockingbird, no. No. Stop! I said stop! Please stop! Stop it! Stop! Stop! Please stop! Very well, you can have the breadcrumbs, but please make it quick. The children are about to wake up. At last, I can finally turn the page. So, the moon shone brightly, and the parents did not return for the children. Eventually, the children awoke.
Hansel, there are no breadcrumbs.
Yes, they are.
No, there's not.
Yes, they are.
No, there's not.
You're right.
Oh, no. What are we going to do?
Sis, I'm scared.
Don't worry. We'll find a way. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
That's just the mockingbird.
No, I know what the mockingbird sounds like. This is different. Hey, maybe it's a sign. Quack! I told you it's a sign. I thought all hope was gone. Then I heard your song. Nightingale, I knew you could save us from this wood. You can help us find our way. Nightingale, you saved the day. You can help us find our way. Nightingale, you saved the day. I told you not to be scared. Something magical about that bird.
Yeah.
I think we should follow it. It might take us home.
Home?
Or at least to some food.
Oh, food?
Come on, quickly.
Well, yes, that was rather lovely, I suppose. But I'm not sure I would trust a nightingale. I mean, after all, she's no Mockingbird.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Yes, you may not be as pretty. Oh. But, you're very,
That's a good. I'll take that.
I've got one. Reliable?
I prefer talented.
Okay. Why not? Why not? But, you know what? One of both. Talented and reliable.
We'll take that.
Yes, why not? Why not? Thank you for saving me there. Oh.
Is everything all right?
Yes, I'm fine. It's just now we've come up to Act 6, the gingerbread house. Look, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, before we go any further, I need to point out something important at this stage in the story. You see, Hansel and Gretel have not been eating now for 3 whole days. And let it be known that hunger can do very strange things to the human mind. Oh, yes. For example, you can start to see things and hear things. In reality, are just simply not there. Like an annoying, interrupting duck. There is not a duck in Hansel and Gretel. No, there's not. See, I'm the storyteller, and I think that you will find you are not the hero, and you are not even in the story. You are just an annoying, interrupting duck. See, I'm a grade A storyteller. Certified. Yeah, oh yes, certified by the Board of Storytellers. And I think that you will find that I am in charge.
Sorry, everyone. Sorry. You okay? No. Can I get you anything? Glass of water? Cup of tea? Hug? Oh. Fine. We could watch an episode of Blue Planet. I know we haven't got time, we're in the middle of a show, but David Attenborough always calms you down. Remember on those Friday nights? I bring the worms, you bring the tea. Remember the one with the jellyfish? That used to calm you down. Should we do that? Yeah? You know what? You're under a lot of pressure. This is a big national tour we've got. And I think now it's time for you to tell a gift. I don't have any. Do you want a gift? No. So, instead of a gift from me to you, how about you give a gift from you to these people and open up the story of you? Meanwhile, there we go. I can make it all sound pretty and nice, and you can just share with these lovely people. Does that sound good? Yeah?
When was a duck ever a hero? I'm utterly exhausted. I'm sorry, everyone. I don't know what to do at this point. I mean, all I'm trying to do is tell you wonderful people the equally wonderful tale of Hansel and Gretel. And in all honesty, that annoying duck and a few members of the cast as well, are simply disrespecting the true version of the tale. Now, if you don't mind, may we please get back to the actual story in the book? Thank you. Oh, sea mammals, clear blue oceans, gin biscuits. It had been 3 days since Hansel and Gretel left their father's house, and if help would not come for them soon, they would die of hunger and weariness. Now, as I mentioned earlier, hunger can do very strange things to the human mind, and that might just mean that you start to see things that aren't really there.
She's not coming.
However, Hansel and Gretel followed that nightingale out of the forest, and there in the distance, to their amazement, was a house made completely out of gingerbread, a smarty roof, the old candy cane, and quite a few lollipops. But that's not what the fuck will do. Oh, and here comes the chef. But there's not a chef in Hansel and Gretel.
Yes, there is.
Oh, I give up. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the chef.
We've got gingerbread, candy canes, and sweets galore.
So come inside, look around, there's so much to explore.
We'll never be hungry. The sweets that's on me. If we're not sure, we'll eat some more. We've got gingerbread, candy canes, and sweets galore. Jelly beans and ice cream towers.
We'll be stuck in here for hours.
We'll never be hungry. With sweets it's on me. If we're not sure, we'll eat some more. We'll never be hungry. With sweets it's on me. If we're not sure, we'll eat some more.
Stop! Can you please stop the insanity and return to the story in the book?
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you! Suddenly, a very old woman came creeping out.
Are you hungry, my dears?
Yes?
Well, that's great. Would you like to stay the night?
Yes, please.
Oh, wonderful.
Now, the old woman had only pretended to be kind because she was in reality a wicked witch! I said she had only pretended to be kind. She was in reality a wicked witch! Where's the witch?
I think there's a costume change.
Is the witch ready yet?
Yes. Yes, she is.
Great. Let's try again. The old woman had only pretended to be kind because she was in reality a wicked witch! No, don't panic! You see, witches have red eyes and they can't see very far. But they do have a very keen sense of smell and can sniff out a smelly child in seconds.
You don't know who you're dealing with. You've got no clue. You don't know who you're looking at. I've got my eyes on you. Yes, I'm just a mean bad lady at the candy house.
I'm just a mean bad lady at the candy house.
I'm just a big bad lady at the candy house.
I'm mean and bad and a lady.
Yes, all right, you made your point. Now, the next day, the witch seized Hansel and locked him into a cage. No, don't panic. I'm sure that Hansel will think of a plan.
I can't think of a plan.
Okay. Yes, good point. The witch went over to Gretel and shook her awake. She explained that Hansel was to be made fat.
No!
And that when he was fat enough,
No!
she would cook him and eat him. So the witch went over to the cage and said,
Stretch out your finger. I want to see how fat you are.
but Hansel had suddenly thought of a plan.
I thought of a plan.
Now, as I mentioned, the witch had red eyes, so she couldn't see very far. So Hansel stretched out an old chicken bone instead of his finger. The witch was shocked to find that he was still so skinny.
Cake?
Great idea. Thank you. Chef.
4 weeks passed by after that, and Hansel still remained thin. The witch couldn't wait any longer. Today was the day that Hansel would be turned into a piping hot.
I?
Yes, a pie. Gretel knew she needed to think of a plan. Gretel knew she needed to think of a plan.
Gretel!
I need to think of a plan.
Oh, how the poor little sister did lament.
Oh, if only the wild beasts of the forest had devoured us, then at least we would have died together.
Sis, get a grip.
Oh, I can't.
You have to.
I can't.
You need to.
Oh, I can't. I've got a plan. Oh, Mrs. Witch. Mrs. Witch. I was just looking at your lovely oven. It's very state of the art, but I don't know how to open the door. Could you help me?
Oh, silly girl.
And so as the witch opened the oven door, Gretel gave her a kick that sent her flying into the oven.
The witch is dead!
Kids, we're saved! The witch is dead. I'm saved.
What?
Well, you see, I'm actually a frustrated chef who got led astray. See, I'm really
A strong yet kind chef.
Yes, I am.
Very strange. So the three of them no longer feared the evil witch. As they searched her house, they discovered a chest full of jewels.
Look what I found!
Oh, how they did rejoice and dance around and kiss each other.
Kiss each other?
Yes, that's what it says in the book. Look, it says dance, rejoiced, and kissed each other.
No.
Oh, you guys are going to be all...
Great
idea.
We've got gingerbread, candy canes, and sweets galore. So come inside, walk around. There's so much to explore. We'll never be hungry with sweets and something. If we're not sure, well, eat some more. We've got gingerbread, candy canes, and sweets galore. Jelly beans, ice cream flowers, stuck in here for hours. We'll never be hungry. The sweets have something. If we're not sure, we'll eat some more. We'll never be hungry. The sweets have something. If we're not sure, we'll eat some more.
I think we should go.
Can I come?
Yeah, sure, why not?
I give up. First a duck, now a chef. Anyway, moving on. Act 7, a great stretch of water. So, Hansel, Gretel, and the chef wandered through the forest as they were no longer hungry and no longer poor, but they needed to get out of that forest. Now, after wandering for about 2 hours, they came across a great stretch of water.
Oh, how are we to get across this great stretch of water with no bridge or boat? We need to think of a plan. Hold on a minute.
Where's that duck?
Yes, where is that annoying, interrupting duck? Excuse me one moment. I'll be right back.
Is everything okay?
Maybe this. No. Just checking the book, the story. There's got to be some mistake. Oh, yes. Well, it does appear indeed that some duck swims across a great stretch of water and rescue Hansel and Gretel. But it's hardly important now, is it? I mean, to be a cameo of a part.
I would say rescue the main characters a very important part.
You're merely offering them a lift.
I would call her a hero.
She's got a point.
Shall we get back to the story?
Oh, if you must!
Little duck, what dost thou see? Hansel and Gretel.
I'm the chef.
Yes, and the chef, waiting for thee. Never a plank or a bridge in sight. Will you carry us on your back so yellow and orange? Great!
So, let me get this straight. A duck gives Hansel and Gretel
And the chef.
and the chef a lift across a great stretch of water.
Evidence would suggest so, yes.
But that's just ridiculous. Well, I know you didn't write it.
Is that an apology?
Yes, it's my attempt at an apology. I'm sure.
Come on.
Sorry.
I'm. Yes,
We know you can say it.
Thank you.
Front row know you can say it.
Thank you very much. All right! I'm sorry. But it's still a ridiculous ending. Oh, I know. Look, let's just get on with the plot, shall we? Act 8, the children return. Again. So Hansel and Gretel wandered through the forest, and as they did, it appeared more and more familiar to them. And eventually from afar, they saw their father's house. We need the house, build the house again! So Hansel and Gretel wandered through the forest, and it appeared more and more familiar to them. Eventually, they came up to their father's house.
Children!
The children told their dad of their adventures.
A quack!
And their dad explained that their stepmother was
Dead.
cake. Well, that's my tale done. What an absolutely weird ending. Well, nevertheless, I hope you've all enjoyed the twisted tale of Hansel and Gretel. The... I have forgotten someone. Hello there, Nikki Priest here, who you just witnessed playing the storyteller. Thank you so much for watching our performance of the Twisted Tale of Hansel and Gretel. We really hope that you enjoyed it. The performance was presented by Open Theatre and MBD. It was co-produced by the Birmingham Hippodrome and created by Esther Simpson. Now, if you want to find out more about what Open Theatre does and to find loads of Hansel and Gretel resources and fun activities to do at home, which, who can blame you? Why not? It's all good fun. Then please visit our website on www.opentheatre.co.uk. Please also donate what you can to enable us to provide more creative opportunities for young people with learning conditions. And you can donate by visiting www.justgiving.com/campaign/30x30. Your support is so greatly appreciated. It really genuinely is. It really helps us out big time. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you at our next Twisted Tale. Have a good day.